MSB here, and today I'll be providing a simple guide to smart rare drafting. What it is, when to do it, and what cards to keep an eye out for. If you're new to drafts and your chances of winning are low, grabbing up some rare cards can help to pay for future drafts once the auction house is released. If you're an experienced drafter, you might think rare drafting is for noobs, but if you keep in mind some easy guidelines, you'll get more from your entry fee while not really hampering your deck's chances of getting first place. So, what is rare drafting? Rare drafting is the act of selecting a card during draft based solely on the card's rarity or sale price. Since you open 3 packs during the draft, you're guaranteed first dibs on at least 3 rares or legendaries. If one of the other people in the draft don't pick up the rare in their pack, that increases the number. Pros normally poo-poo rare drafting because you sacrifice picking up a card which would have more deck synergy. But here are 3 steps to help minimize the impact to your deck but maximize your profit. Step 1. Rare draft early. By grabbing a rare or legendary card in your first 2 picks, you still have time to build a deck around the shard that is being passed to you in later rounds. Even if you grabbed a good non-rare draft card in the first round, you still might be locked out of that shard or have no other good options in that shard by the end of the first pack round, and sending that card to the next player can almost guarantee that they will draft into that shard, and you may not even have to play that person at all during the draft anyway. Step 2. Is the rare already in your shard? There are passably good rares that aren't worth building a deck around, but can provide some sort of modest impact in a draft deck. For example, if you're already in Diamond and have a Shield Trainer, rare drafting a Blessing the Fallen could take priority over a better card because you may just be able to throw it in your deck anyway, and the return you'd get for selling it would be better in the long run. Step 3. Are there any good cards in your shard instead of rare drafting? Sometimes a draft forces you to make tough choices, and none are as difficult when a rare drafter has to decide between taking a card that could help them win the tournament and taking a card that could pay big dividends at the auction house. When this happens, first check for a win condition in your shard. This is normally referred to as a bomb, something that is a major threat to your opponent. For example, here I need to pick between a Mistborn Wendigo and the rare Mancubus. I go with the Wendigo because it's a win condition in my shard, and the Mancubus, sexy as he is, won't likely be worth it to sell. Next, check for removal in your shard. A Repel, Murder, or Mesmerize could help you win your draft, but isn't quite as high a priority as a win condition. Then, you can lower your standards a little and grab a rare or legendary that might be a good performer on the market. Last, if it comes down to taking an average troop or action, or picking a rare or legendary, weight the decision towards rare drafting. That one average card will more than likely not help you win, and unless the rare or legendary is garbage, you'll likely come out better overall for having taken it. Now, this last step deals with the relative value or price of a rare. How would you know whether taking a Zentoth's Inquisitor is better than grabbing that inner piece for your Diamond draft deck? With the auction house not yet released, market data isn't currently available to give us prices, but here's a collection of cards and concepts to keep in mind while you draft. First, look at cards that are universally good stat-wise. The Eldritch Dreamer is a fantastic example of a troop that fits into almost any deck due to its avoidance, major gem slot, and relatively average threshold. Cards like this are great to rare draft because it's likely there will be good demand for them in lots of different types of decks. Second, look at cards that are build-around cards. Cards that, if you want to make a certain type of deck, you'll probably need, like Blessing the Fallen for Inspire decks, or Chronic Madness for mill decks. Selling these cards when there aren't many on the auction house will likely net a tidy profit, as you catch that person who has a burning desire to make that theme deck. Now, not all rares and legendaries are created equal. Take Comet Strike for example. It has a mammoth 10 cost, wipes out your board and hand, and gives your opponent the first chance to play something. Sure, there may be a PvE encounter where you want this, but really it's not a great legendary. So just because you see the blue or red rarity symbol doesn't make it an auto pick. Here are my suggestions for the top cards in each shard to keep an eye out for during your drafts. In Blood, the legendary Vampire King is an amazing all-around troop, and worth losing out on a draft pick to grab it, or worth splashing blood to use it in the draft, while the rare Life Siphon should be pretty desirable to almost any Blood deck. In Diamond, the legendary Angel of Dawn is a very good troop, and an early proc in the draft can flat out win matches. The rare Blessing the Fallen will likely see play in almost any Inspire deck, a mechanic that will only be expanded on in Set 2 as well, making it a solid performer on the market for a rare drafter. In Ruby, you'd be insane not to draft the legendary Crown of the Primals. This card wins drafts. It makes any troop godlike, and I've been on the unfortunate end of it in 2 drafts. There are a few good Ruby rare draft options, but I'd take the Royal Falconer, not only for its actual draft power, but also because it's the cornerstone for a great Inspire budget deck. In Sapphire, the legendary Mastery of Time is such a universally good card that it fits in nearly any Sapphire deck, making it desirable on the auction house. Honorable mention goes out to Archmage Renlock, though, as his ability will only be more exploitable as more sets are released. For rares, the aforementioned Eldritch Dreamer is the Swiss Army knife of troops, while the Ancestors Chosen and Chronic Madness back it up as honorable mentions. In Wild, Eye of Creation will likely be a build-around card, while Jadem takes honorable mention for being an amazing troop with equally amazing art. For rares, the Wild Root Dancer is fantastic in drafts, while also being a great addition to nearly any Wild deck. My sleeper hit award goes to Pact of Life, as I still stand by my prediction here that the Priest class will be able to transfer heals to other champions. Can you imagine a Wild Diamond 3-player raid healing Priest deck with these two cards as the backbone? Whew, awesome. Lastly, for artifact legendaries, the Eternal Guardian can be a win condition for any late game deck. This card should have another ability added to it. When this troop enters play, deal a soul-crushing blow to target champion. You know what I'm talking about if you've gotten hit by this guy. For rares, the Double Gadget will likely spawn all sorts of shenanigans, which will only become more ridiculous as other sets are released. Have another card you think should be on the list? Let me know in the comment section below, and while you're at it, please take the time to subscribe to my channel. If you keep smart rare drafting in mind, then grabbing a couple of rares or legendaries during your drafts can turn a disappointing first round loss into a positive, profitable pursuit. And, as always, I'm MSP, wishing you good games and good times.